Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. I'm your host, Kiera Dent, and I had this crazy idea that maybe I could combine a doctor and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, filler, office manager, regional manager, practice owner, and I have a team of traveling consultants where we have traveled to over 165 different offices coaching teams. Yep, we don't just understand you, we are you. Our mission is to positively impact the world of dental, and I believe that this podcast is the greatest way I can help elevate teams, grow VIP experiences, reduce stress, and create A-teams. Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. Hello, Dental 18 listeners. This is Kiera, and you guys, this is so great. I have asked you guys so many times to give me podcast topics, and guess what? The fans are listening. You guys are listening. You're actually reaching out, and I cannot thank you enough. This is so helpful. I don't know if you guys know, I actually keep a log on my phone of topics and ideas and things to do. And so I just appreciate you guys. So if you have ideas, things that you're struggling with in your practice, questions you have, well, guess what? You're probably not the only office facing that. So send them on over. You guys can go over to our website, thedentalateam.com/blog. And that's where we house all of our podcasts. And there's a spot where you can submit topic ideas, or you can email us, hello@thedentalateam.com. And I'll be honest, I love the fanfare from you guys. It's really fun. We get to read it. We get to celebrate when you guys send us over things that you love. We share it with our entire team. So keep them coming. Reach out to us. We really love to hear from you. And before we get too far into today's episode, please make sure you guys are subscribing and sharing our podcast. So if this podcast has helped you in any way, if you've gained any nuggets, please leave us a review and subscribe. Share with your friends. Sharing's caring, and one person at a time, we're going to be able to grow this podcast to the podcast that positively impacts and changes the world of dentistry. So help us out on our mission. You guys are the best. All right, you guys. So today's topic is going to our faithful listener and fan about what do you do when people resign in your practice and firing. Dun, 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 dun. All right. So what do you do if somebody just wants to resign? I know with COVID, that's kind of a hot topic. People are definitely resigning. People are choosing not to come back to work. And what do you do with that? So I think there's a couple different options. We got to find out why they want to resign. I think that people are motivated by certain things. Some are resigning out of fear. They don't want to come back. Some are not happy, and some you want to resign. So you've conveniently made it not a great place to work. And so they're resigning because they don't enjoy working there anymore. So finding out why. And I am really big on, Kaylee, she talked about this the other day. Whenever somebody gives you feedback, the first thing you say to them is thank you. Thank you so much for telling me. Thank you so much for letting us know. Thanks for letting us know you want to resign. Let's talk about it. Give me some feedback if you're open to it. What's your reason for wanting to resign? I would make sure that you find out what's going on. Sometimes they just want to resign because something's frustrating them and they can't communicate or they don't feel they've been heard. And I believe that there's always a solution. Sometimes the solution is you part ways. Other times we create a solution in the practice. We find an answer and the person's able to stay working with us. I also look before I do anything to see, is this a person that I even want to have staying? I've also found that usually when people do resign, they kind of have it. Granted, COVID's a little bit different, and people usually they're going to resign because it's been in their mind already. So when people are like, "Hey, I'm going to take a break," usually I'm like, "Hey, you're on your way out." Got it. And I don't ever expect them to come back. Usually if they do come back, they only stay for a couple of months. So I don't like to play that game very much. I also believe that people want to do that. I like people that are with me for the long haul. Granted, with COVID, I think that there are times when people are just scared and so they don't know what else to do. So they're going to quickly resign. At the same time, I do remember that and I do hold on to those things. And I really look to see, is this somebody that I want to work it out with? Do I want to find out what's going on? I always want to find out what's going on. It's just, do I want to work this out to where we actually stay together and keep working together or not? If someone resigns, you guys, I am not Cedar. I don't claim to be Cedar or an HR company. I don't know your legal laws. You need to check with your state employment and find out what can or cannot happen when somebody resigns. Typically, what we recommend is you have them actually sign a form saying that they chose to resign, they quit. So there's a simple form saying like, I voluntarily chose to leave. You get the keys back. You change your passwords on your computer, all the logins, make sure they have everything out, and they get their final check and they're on their way. So I'm really big on, as soon as we terminate, whatever it is, you resign or we fire, that it's kind of a down and dirty, we're done, and we go off on our own ways, and we wish you the best. We always speak positively of that person. I'll give you guys some great verbiage for that as well. As far as firing, we've talked about this in the past. If we've got to fire somebody, I believe that nobody should ever be surprised when they're fired. Now, you might have been holding on to somebody for a long time, so you might learn this and become a better version of yourself moving forward. But typically, I like to give people at least an opportunity to improve if they want to. So, if somebody's on the row for firing, I like to have it documented. So that's where your monthly check-ins come into place. Are you checking in with them, doing monthly one-on-ones to ensure that they are up to par, that if there's something struggling, that you guys have been working on it proactively instead of reactively. So I'm really, really big on these. You guys, it is hard for me personally to give honest feedback when someone's not doing the job that I want them to be doing. That's honestly something that is hard for me. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not the best at it. I usually add a lot more fluff and sugar than I probably should. And the reality is they're not doing a great job, and I just don't want to hurt their feelings. And so with that, I think it's important to give that honest feedback. It was really hard. We just had an employee. I'll tell you though, we gave her the honest facts. I like to go off of facts, not emotion. That way people know exactly what to improve. I mean, all of us need to improve, every single one of us. It just depends on if they're willing to take that feedback and actually improve. And are you documenting it to ensure that they are actually improving? So that's step number one. If you guys don't have these monthly one-on-one check-ins, get those in place. Have a form that's standardized. I personally like it based on core values. You guys can do whatever you want. If you guys want access to that, please look over on our website, thedentaliteam.com/blog. We have all of our downloadable forms, so pop on over there. Brenna, here's another form for you to add in. Our monthly one-on-one checklist, they're over there. But this is going to help you guys really get to know your team members and be proactive. I remember I had a team member, and they just need to know, hey, first offense, when we're having a problem, it's going to be a written warning. After that, you're on a 30-day probation, and after that, you're terminated. Done. Now they know, all right, this is what happens in this practice, and there is no middle ground. We don't allow excuses. They know the rules, and you're willing to follow through if they choose that. Every choice has a consequence, whether positive or negative, it doesn't matter, but every single choice has a consequence. I think when your team knows that and you actually follow through, the rest of your team will follow through as well. A lot of people they're like the parent who says, don't throw the rock, or we're going to go home. The kid keeps throwing a rock. Well, everybody knows they can keep throwing rocks in your practice because you're never actually going to do something. So first and foremost with firing, have your one-on-ones. I also think this helps with people resigning. If you have a good communication and a good rapport with your team members, they're most likely going to talk to you before they just up and resign. I've found that people that have good communication in their practices, I'm not talking being their best friend. I'm literally talking that there is open communication. You know what's going on with those team members. They feel comfortable that you are fair. Not necessarily liked, but fair. I think fair is probably your best compliment you could ever be given in leadership, because that way you're not having favorites. If you can do that, your team then is going to actually follow suit with you. So if we get to that first time, it's a written up warning. Next time, you're on a 30-day probation. After that, we all know the conversation. You're out. We don't want you there, so let's fix this. If they do need to go on a 30-day probation, what you're going to do from there is you're going to bring them in. They'll be like, hey, Sarah, all right, so we both know we're here. We've got some things that we need to discuss. Our job is to find a solution to solve this forever. I'm really pro solving things forever. Otherwise, why are we bringing up dirty laundry? We're not going to solve it forever. It's not to make people feel bad. It's literally, here's the problem. Here's the solution to solve this forever. Here's the action plan to get there. And it doesn't have to be emotional, you guys. It does not have to be so scary. It is scary. It can be. I think it's more just getting the confidence that this is a conversation. We're creating a solution, and either you're going to choose to be on the boat or you're going to choose to be off the boat. We don't ever want to make somebody feel bad, and I think that's where the fear comes. We don't want to make them feel bad. We like these people. So if we know that, and we know that's why we're afraid, that we can say that, hey, Sarah, I don't ever want to make you feel bad. I don't want you to feel like you're a bad employee, because honestly, you're a great person. We do need to fix some things. So here are the issues that we need to solve forever. And we're going to put you on a 30-day action plan. If these things are not resolved in 30 days, you and I know what the conversation will be at the end of these 30 days. Have very specific facts, not emotions. So it'd be like, hey, so recently we just chatted with a team member and we said, we need you to be more proactive. So we noticed that we give you a task, and that's great. You get the task done. But if you want to move into leadership, like you mentioned, what we're looking for is that you're proactive. You take these projects on. You own these projects. You're not coming to us for all the answers. That's very specific. We also need you to be accountable, to follow through. If you say you're going to get something done, we need you to follow through with that. Those are the two things that we're going to be watching over the next 30 days. We're going to check in every single month. You're going to let us know how you think you're doing, and we're going to let you know how we think you're doing. Okay? So that's what you guys can do with your team members. You've got to set these follow-ups. Otherwise, in 30 days, something may or may not have gotten better. Hello, Dental Team family. We are doing Dental Team's membership program. It's customized coaching incorporating our 12 systems comprehensive success cycle. We are going to be rolling this out July 1st. So which office are you going to be? Are you going to be a Dental Team Silver, a Dental Team Gold, or a Dental Team Platinum? You let me know. Comprehensive coaching that's customized for you guys. Super excited. And I can't wait to see which one you choose. So head on over to thedentalyteam.com. Let us know which one you choose to be. And I can't wait to see you there. Also, when I'm looking at if I'm going to hire or I'm going to terminate someone, or if they choose to resign and if I really want to work with them, this was an example that I really love. And I focus on this a lot because it helped me see if this person's even worth investing in, and it's the pie graph. So what you do is you make two circles. Okay, so on your paper, you guys can do this with me right now. Make two circles. Above one of the circles, write time, and above the other circle, write value. Okay, so you're actually going to pie graph this out of how much time an employee takes of yours. And that means like at home, thinking about them, stressing about them, worrying about them. How much time does this employee take versus how much value do they bring? So for example, Kaylee, you guys know her. We love her. She's on the podcast. I adore her. Kaylee, honestly, of my life, she maybe takes up 10 to 15% of my time. I have a meeting with her and I'll talk to her every so often when there's a big issue that arises. Okay? 10 to 15% of my time. I don't stress about her on the weekends. I don't think about what's going on. Yes, I think about her on fun things, but that's not the stressing, exhausting. She takes about 10 to 15% of my total time in a given, say, day or week. How much value does Kaylee bring? Oh my gosh, like 95%. Kaylee is incredible. So if you were to look at my pie graph, I would show that Kaylee takes 10 to 15% of my time while bringing 95% of my value. That's a fantastic employee. We want employees like that. Now, if I go back to when I was an office manager, because that's safer, we won't talk about my team right now. I don't think actually there's any of them that would be low on the pie graph. We have a really great team. And I say that not boastfully. I genuinely say that truthfully. We have an incredible team, but we also hire darn well. I'm very particular that we hire incredible people. And if you're not making it, you're out. We don't have time. We're a virtual company. So with that said, what we do is, let's go back. I had some employees. So I'll think back. I had an assistant. I won't say her name in case she listens to the podcast. I had an assistant. Honest to goodness, guys, she took up like 75% of my time. And the value she brought was about 30 to 40%. She was an okay assistant, but she took up so much of my freaking time. It was exhausting. It was annoying. That's not a good employee. So if you were to look at my pie graphs, I'd have 75% of my time bringing 30 to 40% of the value. So when we're struggling to see, we're emotionally connected to these people and we want to see, should we cut these people? Are they worth investing in? Are they worth working on? The pie graph is one of my favorite things to go back to because it just helps me visually see how much time versus how much value is this employee taking, and I'm able to make smarter decisions at that point. So back to the 30 days, you check in every week. I personally like to score them on a scale of 1 to 5 and have them scale themselves on a scale of 1 to 5. I also do the pie graph, how much time versus value. I also have the employee do this and I do it with them as well. And then you're able to see, I coached an office through this. It was kind of awkward and we worked through it. That employee became incredible. She really did. She grew. She saw how much time she was taking of the doctor versus how little value she was bringing. And she really turned a leaf. And I would say she probably had about an 8-month turnaround. After that, they decided to split ways. It just was not getting better. So with that, I think a lot of these things can get a lot better. They might not last. They might last. It really depends. But that to me is how you get that. And honestly, if somebody's coming in, they're getting 1s and 2s every single week, they're probably going to quit because most people don't want to be fired. Now, depending upon your state laws, check, I don't know your state laws, nor am I going to claim or be held accountable for telling you this. I do know in some states when somebody is at the point of being fired, they tell the employee, hey, you are welcome to voluntarily quit today. I'm going to fire you. But if you'd rather, I would prefer not to have to tell the next person or give them negative responses about you that you were fired. Obviously, in some states you can say that, some states you cannot. But they tell them, hey, if you want to voluntarily quit, that way you're not fired, we can do this. Some people have paid them like a severance leave. Other people have just had them sign a form saying they voluntarily quit. It really depends. Again, check with your lawyers, check with your HR, check to see what your state allows. This can be a good win-win for the employer. They're not having to pay unemployment, and a good win for the employee not to be actually terminated from a job. So that's an option you guys can do. Again, you have to check with your state laws. You've got to check with your lawyers. Make sure this is something you can or can't do. Because I have seen that work very favorably. And then you guys leave on better terms instead of it's like, you're fired, you're out of here. Now, what happens if you haven't been having these check-ins? What happens if you've got someone that needs to they got to go? In that situation, there's 1 or 2 options. One option is you just cut them. You know they're toxic. You know they've got to go. So you just cut them, and you're going to learn better next time. You're going to implement the one-on-ones. You're going to allow that to change. And sometimes that's the right thing to do. You know they're not going to change. You know they're toxic for you. And sometimes you cut that cancer out, let them go their way. You go your way. A second option is you can give them 30 days. You can put them on a 30-day probation. Kiera, we got to chat. These are the issues. Let's find a solution to solve them forever. Actual facts that we can track. We're going to meet every single week because we're invested in you. We want you to be here. Otherwise, we would have fired you. The reality is, I tell team members this. I would have fired you if I didn't want you here, truthfully. But I want to give you an opportunity to grow. And I'm not going to fire you unless you want to. It's your choice. You get to be on the ship or you get to be off the ship. It's your choice. But you've got to be rowing with us if you choose to be here. And that's that. And they get to choose. I let them choose their own adventure. If this isn't your dream job, bounce, girl or guy. Go find your dream job. This is what we expect of our team. We want you here. We're going to invest in you for the next 30 days if you choose to change. So a lot of this is just very matter of fact, you guys, and it's just practice. You got to practice doing it. You got to practice getting good at this. You got to practice these hard conversations, and they get easier and easier and easier with time. And you'll notice your team actually gets better and better and better. With that said, I'm also really, really, really picky on making sure that we hire and hire really, really well. So really good candidates, really good people, making sure we hire the best of the best. That's going to help all of you not get into this spot. I really think those one-on-one check-ins, though, help prevent resignations and having to get to the firing. However, it might still come up. You can do the best you can. People have to choose and want to be there. You can give them all the opportunities in the world. They still have to want it. So I said, and just because you fire somebody, it doesn't mean you're a terrible person. You're allowing them to find their dream job. Nobody wants to go to a dream job where they're terrible and they're getting bad reviews and people don't like them. Nobody wants to go there. They might be afraid. They might think they want to be there. It's okay. Let them go find their dream job. They'll be happier. You'll be happier, and it'll be a win-win. So as a recap, if somebody resigns, make sure you have a form ready to go. Talk to them. See if it's fear. See if it's money. See if there's a solution that you can come up with. If not, have them sign a form. Take the keys. Make sure you change the passwords. Change the locks. Get everything back from them. Get them their final paycheck. Wish them well. If you're firing, make sure before we get to firing, we hire really well. We also make sure we're doing those one-on-one check-ins every single month. We're making sure that we give them tangible facts of how they can improve. That way we're not just telling them, hey, you need to get better, but we don't actually give them facts of how they can resolve. First time, written warning. Second time, 30-day probation. Third time, they're out of there. That's my philosophy. You guys might have your own. Do whatever feels good to you. Just make sure it's a clear process that your whole team knows. That's the biggest piece. They just need to know the rules of the game so that way they can be successful and choose their own choices. It's totally their choice. Let them choose, and you just act and follow through. Now, if somebody does get fired or chooses to resign, what do we tell people in the practice? We say, you know what? We absolutely loved Kathy. She is doing exceptionally well from what we last heard. And we have Kiera here who is amazing, and you are absolutely going to love her. Okay? We speak very positively. The last we heard, they're doing really, really well. And we have Kiera here. You're absolutely going to love her. And that's the end of it. You edify and you move on. That's it. You don't have to say anything negative. You don't have to say anything. Well, where did they go? The last we heard, they're doing great. And we've got Kiera here, and she's going to take great care of you. Just scooch around it. It's okay. Edify them. Keep it on good terms. It's always good to keep people in a good light. I don't care how bad of a person they are. We all make mistakes. We all do things we wish we could change. And I believe, you know what? I would prefer people to speak that way about me. So that's how I'm going to speak about them. I'm not lying to them. I'm not saying things that are false. I'm literally just saying the last I heard, they're doing fantastic. And we've got so-and-so here, and they're going to take great care of you. Edify and move on. All right, you guys. Thank you to our fanfare. Thank you for sending this email over and asking us. This is for you, faithful fan. For all of you, please send over your topics, your ideas, and let us know if you have some tips on how you hire or fire or terminate or any of those things, what you guys do in your practices. I'd love to hear from you. hello@thedentaling.com. All right, you guys, thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you next time on the Dentaling Team Podcast.
And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dentaling Team Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.